with that involved, right? We were in the middle of a neighborhood that was suffering incredible vacancy, loss of investment, right? Flight from the neighborhood. We were trying to work to stabilize our neighborhood, bring people together in order to imagine what our own ideas of investment could look like if they were brought into some form of action, collectively, individually, to inspire change. And through that, I ended up in the stimulus era, working with the rise of $5 billion of weatherization money, working on energy efficiency, because part of our housing crisis in that neighborhood was housing, not just a lack of affordable housing, but the lack of quality housing, and that was under-insulated, poorly maintained housing, whether by the impoverished homeowner class or by a sort of lackluster landlord class. And so I spent from 2008 to 2013 working on building the energy efficiency work and the sort of green work or push, thinking about what a green means to this community, right? And it's a lot of what you kind of know now, right? All the things that we've seen sort of push flower into. Then I got, a taste for what could happen. That work took, lots of effort, lots of hands to build out Green Jobs Green, the Green Jobs, push green through Green Jobs Green New York, and that I got a taste for what networked action looks like at the state level. And for 5 years, I worked with people like Adam Flint, people like the Center for Working Families, and Amelia Gelman, God rest her absence from this energy space. We miss you, baby. And so on and so forth. Then with that taste, I became a nerd. I had thoughts, I had ideas, right? Green jobs was a thing, there was a narrative, it was taken over, right? I created a narrative of the centrality of community-based organizations in the delivery of energy services through the state, right? That was us. Looking at you, Adam. So I went to CSI, right? Taking my big ideas and my big brain, I wanted to combine my activist brain with my nerd brain, right? And I was supposed to write a paper, right? The Center for Social Inclusion, a racial justice and racial equity policy think tank, hired me to write a paper. Me! Right? Activists and all this jazz. I was like, okay, I can do it. I'll get down with it. Let's go. But I couldn't get rid of this bug, right? Couldn't get rid of this bug. To build communities, to connect with people, to tap in the power of together. And no matter what I said, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how Randall and Anthony Giancaterino said, Eric, we need you to write this lit review. The REV was taken off at that time, the Reforming the Energy Vision initiative was taken off at this time, and I bumped into Jessica, right? And it was like, damn, that's fire right there. We got to tap into that, right? And I brought folks together, and we built what would become the Energy Democracy Alliance, bringing a bunch of folks in the Green Jobs Green New York Coalition, right? The CBOs that Adam and I worked with, together with the anti-nuclear folks, the fractivists, and so on, to build out what would become the Energy Democracy Alliance. But even that wasn't enough, right? I didn't stop there. After that, I sort of moved on to becoming a bureaucrat. I'll tell you a funny story. While I was working for CSI, I was bird dogging the former chair of the Public Service Commission, Audrey Zibel. She had come into this closed-door cloister meeting at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus and invited some of her closest friends to talk about the nature of our energy system moving forward. I snuck into this meeting, literally snuck into this meeting, and dropped a question on her about the nature of finance. Now, the REV is about supporting private capital investment into the transition to a renewable energy future. And I asked, should we make poor people pay a premium for things that they can't afford already? Now you know how that went. I was sort of dodged and then hauled out of the room, but someone came up to me and said, I think you should apply for this job. And that's how I became a bureaucrat. If you can believe that stupid story. Sorry, transition. I spent 3 years as a activist turned bureaucrat, trying to reimagine the social service infrastructure of county government to help drive energy affordability, energy equity, and government procurement as a way to help facilitate capitalizing that beyond the capital structure that was being promulgated by the state energy leadership. And I won some things and I lost some things along the way. But more importantly, I want to talk about what I learned. And while I'm proud of what I've accomplished over the years, I have thought hard about this and have come to the conclusion that I was motivated by some things that were part of a false construct. I was motivated by beating the boogeyman, right? I was motivated by the profession of fighting evil. I was motivated by my life experience as a poor person, right? That is awesome. And that was all awesome. But the fight, that rooted me in a fight that I could never escape, right? An antagonism that I could never escape. There was always going to be a boogeyman. There was always going to be something evil to chase, right? Quixote style. And my life was my life. And my life has transitioned and changed and evolved since then. What I've learned as what wore me out, I went from fired up to worn out because of that fight. And what I learned as an activist was that the fight in the street to win campaigns, to engage communities, the fight within an organization around authenticity, around privilege, around social control, right? In order to do the work that was driven by funders, was a fight I couldn't win. As a nerd, I realized the fight that I was engaged in was around theory and idea. And guess what? Most times people with theories only listen to work that supports the theories they have. I couldn't win that fight. As a bureaucrat, I had to fight the politics of brinksmanship in a hyper-polarized environment, and the practical reality that climate change wasn't as clear a priority as the roads and bridges that never got fixed, or as clear a priority as the person the media scrutinized who screwed up in government, right? Those were fights I couldn't win. So what I learned at that end of the day was that strategy never trumps culture, unless, and here we get to the beginning of hope, was that unless we begin to transform culture through shared commitment and intention, that fight is really something that I think can be transitioned into something much different. After about 10 years of being an organizer, activist, a nerd, a bureaucrat, and now a hired gun, I want to move beyond the fight. I want to move beyond the fight. So, does that mean? Well, it means something really simple. Is that the spaces we have for engagement right now are really implicitly rooted in perpetuating three things. The antagonism of binary relationships, us versus them, winners, losers, etc., etc. The catharsis of retaliation. So when my campaign wins, we took down our target. When my policy succeeds, the other guys, the bad guys, are proved invalid. And the simplicity, the overly simplistic idea that some form of reparation addresses harm. I might be speaking heretically today. Let the church say amen.
Amen.
I might be speaking heresy right now, but this is where I've arrived. Don't worry, I'll close out quickly before you start throwing tomatoes and all that. Right? That set of relationships, right? That implicit adversarial relationship that's rooted in the way we engage doesn't allow us to move our ideas forward. And there's sort of three, and then particularly in the energy space, I've come to realize that there are three things that we are really all after, right? Energy security, energy sustainability, and energy affordability. And the major sort of actors, I'll describe those things really quickly. Energy security is just about the reliability of the supply, right? It doesn't matter who you are. You're a big corporation, you're a poor person, you want to keep the lights on. You want to keep the heat on, right? You want sustainability, right? We understand frontline, fence line communities have been the sort of burden, have overburden in their communities. We need to address that. We know that we need, in order to make our bottom lines and with a new business model for this renewable energy future, we need sustainable energy to be on the grid, right? Energy affordability. If the stuff ain't cheap, no one's gonna buy it. My business model crumbles, and I can't keep the lights on, and social order as we know it starts to crumble. So we got three things that we know right now that can be the grounding for moving beyond the fight. But we're doubling down. We're doubling down on the antagonism. We're doubling down on the sense of catharsis in the way we frame our struggles. And we're doubling down on the call for a simplistic formation of reparation that only fuels the notion of us versus them. We have to recognize the cliff. We have to be aware and mindful of the blind spots, and we have to do differently in order to make the meaning that we want to see. We cannot be the change that we want to see unless we recognize that cliff, unless we share an intention and a commitment to do differently. So what does a just transition look like in that space? I'm gonna tell you, I don't know. But it's up to us to make it. It's up to us to make it. Through shared commitment and intention, we can make it. If we're willing to go beyond the fight, into something new. Let's see, where do I go? So no more weaponized conversations about strategies, tactics, targets, right? No more weaponized inquiry in your public meetings with your state, local government representatives about how much of a problem that they are and why won't they listen to you, right? We need to do differently in order to make the meaning that we want to see. And I'm gonna wrap here, I'm running out of time, we're gonna just close by saying that this summit is the ecosystem for that space. This summit is the ecosystem for that space. Our advocates, our technocrats, our bureaucrats in retirement, myself included, right, can understand and recognize that the cliff, we can walk away from the cliff. And your talent, your time, your commitment, and your intention are what will take us, what will drive us there. And I want to close with a quick quote that's going to sound super corny from, I'm going to butcher the name, but Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, that someday, after mastering the winds, the waves, the tides and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love, and then, for a second time, discover fire. I leave you with this. Can we move beyond the fight? Can we move beyond the fight to collaborate with our so-called enemies, to make meaning, do differently, and develop others to do the same? I am engaged in that. I came here struggling with what to say to you all, and was inspired today to bring this message because of what I've seen. I am excited to engage in that struggle with you all, and I look forward to being with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. What a thought-provoking way to end the day. Thank you so much. Renee, Lindsay, Andra, Neely, our planning team.
We're inviting other members of the planning steering committee to the stage if you would like. I hope other members of our steering committee who are in the room. So we're going to kind of popcorn it here. As you know, we went over on our day. Thank you everyone for your patience with the timing. So we want as many steering committee members, other volunteers, Lydia, our volunteer coordinator. So I'm going to run through some thank yous and then pass the mic around to others to carry on with some other items, closing items. So first off, thank you to our steering committee members and planning members, Betta Broad, Andra Limanis, Yvonne Chu, Peter Worth, Chris Carrick, Neely Kelly, Zach Dufresne, Lindsay Spear, myself, Hannah, what's your last name? Ring, sorry. Twiggy, Corin, Jeff Jones. Am I forgetting anybody? I don't think. Well, Joe for moderating. And so speaking of all of our speakers, our panelists, our keynotes, our presenters today, thank you. Our ASL interpreter, Wanye Jefferson, our child care provider, Alicia Caswell. I'd especially like Thomas Delwood to stand up, who took care of all of our tech, our PowerPoint, all of the workshop rooms. Tom, we couldn't have done today without you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you spending your day with us. And maybe I'll pass the mic to someone else to pick up at the school.
Fowler High School. Okay. And our custodian, Shannon. Shannon, are you in the room? We couldn't have done this without you. Thank you.
So I'm going to thank everyone who had something to do with the food or the dishes. I'm also thanking all of you for being willing to participate in this low waste, zero waste experiment for 200 people. Thank you to the Onondaga Clan Mothers and Jeannie Shenandoah for lending us 200 plates. And I now know that it takes, you can only drive 20 miles an hour when you have 200 china plates loaded in your trunk, but that's okay. You notice other things. And thank you to Donna and my friend Lillian for the flatware. Thank you to Syracuse cultural workers and Art Rage for the cups. Oh, and May Memorial. And if anybody is going to church there tomorrow, please take that box back for me. And I'm going to need a few volunteers to load some cups in their cars because I made 3 trips here and I don't want to make 3 trips